We'd like to sincerely thank our Patreon supporters. What's going on, everybody? I am inside my house right now, and I am going to introduce you guys to my Surfski, or one of my Surfskis. I have 3 of them that are progressively skinnier. This is my skinniest and most competitive race boat. It's 16.5 inches wide. I guess I should start off by explaining what a Surfski is. Essentially, it's a kayak. Traditional kayaks, you sit inside, and where you sit, your legs are inside of the boat, and you have a spray skirt or something like that that seals your body there. Or if you're not like in a wet area, you're still sitting inside the boat. Now that gets a little muddled by today's recreational kayaks, because recreational kayaks are, I'm sorry. Say again, I keep skipping over. So the difference between a kayak and a Surfski is a Surfski, you sit on top. The boat is sealed. It's made for ocean, water, rough waves, stuff like that. Obviously, you can surf these things. And it is sealed, so your boat can't sink. It is, well, unless it cracks in half, it's your flotation device also. But that gets a little muddled with today's recreational kayaks. Most of those plastic kayaks and stuff like that, you're sitting on top. But they do call them sit-on-top kayaks. So a Surfski is essentially a sealed kayak. And they come in progressively skinnier and sometimes longer. There are 2- and 3-person Surfskis also. And in the rest of the world uses them for lifeguard rescue. The US, I don't believe they do, but they do use them in lifeguard competitions. We have a couple friends in our race league that race the Surfskis in lifeguard competition. I think 2 of them, or maybe 3 of them, place nationally in those lifeguard competitions. So, like everything, remember I explained to you guys that I have Tim the Toolman Taylor disease, and I have to modify everything or make it suit my own needs. So Surfskis are paddled, and I grew up paddling canoes and kayaks and stuff for fishing, and until Hobie came out with his kayak, because about the same time I was starting to have more and more lower back issues. And I used to have a high-end moving company that worked for interior designers, and I really put a hurting on my back, some lifelong damage. And I really have to watch the way I lift things up, or repetitive heavy work will start flaring it up, and it will just keep getting worse and build on itself. So also later in life, you start losing all the availability to compete, and having a hurt lower back, you're really limited in what you can do. And I'm a very competitive person. I enjoy competition. So when I started learning about the paddling community, and I think I explained to you when we did that chicken video with Bruce, I signed up to do that 80-mile crossing from the Bahamas to Florida, and I decided that I wanted to be first. That's me. And I decided that I'm going to use a Hobie kayak, and then I got the skinniest, longest Hobie kayak, and then I decided that wasn't long enough, and that's when I discovered Surfskis. And I think I started with a 21.5 foot, 22 inch wide or 21 inch wide boat, and did a whole bunch of modifications to it. And then I went to a 19 inch wide boat, decided that I wasn't ready for that boat on the crossing, went with the wider one, and then I explained to you guys what happened. But I started falling in love with the shorter races, and this is how I'm setting up my Surfskis now. I've probably built 14 of them. There's no forum to go to. There's no one else to ask questions. I have to find a used, inexpensive Surfski, and then I modify it, and then I try it, and I see if I like the stability or the speed or this or that about it. They all have different bucket shapes, and really everybody has a different shaped butt, and one brand may work for you, or one brand's model may work for you, and then not the next one. So you really, it stinks, but I have to do like 3 weeks of modifications to a boat, plus money and a lot of work just to try something out, because I can't go to a showroom and try something out. I have tried to talk to manufacturers about actually manufacturing this for the adaptive sports worlds. A lot of people that have paddled their entire lives that want to stay on the water but have some chronic shoulder injury, or hand injury or something like that, that keeps them from paddling. This will allow them to stay on the water. So what I do to this boat is, inside the footwell, they usually have pedals that work the rudder. So first thing, to put the drive system in the boat, I have to eliminate that and run the steering here, and I make this little plate. Oh wow, I cannot believe how loose that is right now. That's kind of scary. So I make this for the steering. Oh, I gotta take that all apart and tighten it. And then I have to do all the fiberglass work in here. I have to cut all this out of the boat. I cut back here out of the boat to move the steering. And then I have to do all the fiberglass work. See, I had to learn how to do fiberglass work and what products and the processes and everything. So I like, my buddy Brandon helped me a little bit. My buddy Chris Stalker helped me a little bit. And then the rest was just trial and error. And I had to make a mold from Hobie's drive well from one of my fishing kayaks. And I made a mold from that and fiberglass to the outside of the mold, and I adapt them into the boat and build a new floor, everything. And this is Hobie's older drive system, and it clips into the boat. So instead of paddling, I am pedaling, and that takes all the strain away from my back. Proper, let's say, if you and I went recreational paddling, we just paddle with our arms. That's, you know, you just do what you've seen before or you learned or whatever. But proper paddling technique is just like the proper punch. Like, everybody can throw a punch. Vince, there's some people that can really throw a punch. And the strength of a real punch comes from your feet and works its way all the way through your body. Like, it's a whole body amount of energy thrown into the proper punch. And same with paddling. When you watch these people paddle, you'll see their knees are moving up and down. They're actually planting their strength and bracing with their feet. So every paddle stroke, you'll see a knee go up, the other one go down, their body twists. So they're using their whole core, their legs, their back, they're pulling, they're pushing, they're doing all of it at once. And the lactic acid spreads out throughout their body instead of just your arms. If you were just paddling with your arms, you're putting the lactic acid in one place, and that's hard for your body to remove it fast enough to keep going at that pace and with that amount of energy. So I can't twist on my lower back with my problems. So that's why I started trying to solve this problem and going to pedaling. Now I could go with the prop drive and change diameter, pitch, and stuff like that, and fine tune it to the boat and actually make more go. But I want to keep it fair. Like, I want to compete with these people. And we've found with the Hobie drive system, it keeps it a very, very even platform. It's 2 blades. They're using a 2-bladed paddle. It doesn't make the boat go any faster or any more efficient than somebody paddling. In fact, I have a disadvantage where I catch weeds on my drive system and it collects on those fins, whereas they don't. And I mean, we all have our rudder back here, but that's a weed deflector, and then it can hang there, but hopefully eventually slough off that. This is a longer rudder for, it could be rough at this race. So we all have that issue, but I have the weed issue up here. And when weeds get caught on there, I have to unclip it, clear the weeds, and then drop that back in. So the drive system, you know, the ones in my fishing kayaks, you guys see these little red thing with a circle and a little green thing, so I can pull, and the other fins turn around, and I have reverse, so I can pedal in reverse and I can pedal in forward. These are the old style with the upgraded arms and pedal arm assemblies. They're a little stronger than the old ones, but this is how the drive system works. I think it was designed off of Penguin's flippers. So I'm doing this. I can tell you at race pace, this feels like pedaling your bicycle uphill in the wrong gear. This race will go on for, I'm sure, at least an hour and something. It's an 8-mile race, the race this weekend, the whole time. So my heart rate will average like 165, 167. It's not easy. It's not a Sunday drive. But when these fins are going like this, they're not just rigid like that. They're actually S-ing and bending through the water, so that you see like they would make a curve, and they're S-ing. So almost like a snake slithers, that's what these fins are doing through the water, and creates that forward momentum. Now these fins are made to make torque, to push a fishing kayak with a cooler and fishing rods and stuff. They're not made to make speed. I think Brandon and I maybe later will try and make some carbon fiber fins that create a little less drag and fine tune this a little bit, but it's not priority on my list right now, but we do want to do that at some point. And then I also learned about, you know, where I needed padding. I started this without backrests, but if you ever go to the gym and you do a sled, obviously, if you had no backrest, think about how much power you could push up on a sled, or put a backrest there and see how much you can push away. You can obviously have a lot more push, but then it takes away from your balance. You know, if you go out in a recreational kayak that's 40 inches wide and you can still fall in, I mean, this at 16.3, 16.4, this isn't really any wider than my hips. I mean, you see how much room we have here. It's like almost like a knife edge. It's not easy to balance. And then I'm putting my legs up in the air and pedaling them, so I'm wiggling my legs around. So actually that's why I did a skinny backrest, because it allows me some room to move my shoulders and stuff for balance. So this hand will be fixed here steering, and my other hand I'll move out, and that's my only way of having any balance when I hit waves. It's been a long road figuring these things out. This I may do, I think I explained that I tried to get companies to manufacture this, but it was bad timing. So I think that's when all the Chinese tariffs were getting put on everything, and they weren't ready to take on more products because they were having issues getting their products anyway. But I would love for a company to make these, so people that have those issues could purchase something like this. I get a lot of people that email me about building them in the paddling community, and I've been turning them down, but with the situation moving forward, I might start doing some fiberglass work on the side, build a couple Surfskis here and there, just for some supplemental income to get by. This weekend, Brandon and I are gonna fish St. Pete on Friday, and then Saturday is the race. There's some really fast people in that area, and some ex-Olympic people and some people from the US. Oh, ex-Olympic people from other countries, and then I believe the young guys that represent the US in our competitions, world platform and competitions in the US. So there's some fast paddlers there. I think 2 years ago, I got 3rd place in this race. I don't expect to get that this weekend, but I do care about beating my buddy Vince. My buddy Vince is from South Africa. He's a total character. He moved over here with his family, and I enjoy competing with him. Right now, I've beat him every time, but I think our last race was almost a photo finish. Like, I had him by a half a boat length, and that's it. And that's pretty dang close in an 8-mile race. And I don't know. He says he hasn't been training that much, but Strava says that he has. And you guys know what I've been doing for the past, well, this whole year, really. I haven't had enough time to train once some weeks, and then some weeks I miss. So it's hard to have your cardio at top notch. I know my legs are smaller than they've been in a while. I've been just running myself to the bone, ragged edge. I don't know, just working on cages and stuff. But I'm just gonna put it all out there. And I have the Surfski in the house. I'm gonna put a coat of wax on it real quick, but I didn't want to do it before I did the video because it'll slide off the sawhorses easily. Oh, that was the other thing. So it's also in here because I have to build a mount for a GoPro 360. I thought that if I filmed this, I didn't know how you guys were gonna like it. That if your view was just this in a race with my knees going up and down, I don't know how that would make you guys love what I'm doing. But it is exciting at the beginning of the race. And if I could show you with the GoPro 360 what it looks like looking at my boat, but then also showing you where the competitors and where Vince is way back here, hopefully that it might be fun. So if I could turn on that GoPro 360 with the remote for the beginning of the race, maybe the buoy turn, which is the halfway mark, and then the finish. And then we'll have video evidence if Vince is more of a man than me, or the obvious that I'm more of a man than he is. I can't wait till he watches this. So I'm gonna build this mount. I think I need to get a piece of aluminum angle up 36 inches and drill through this support, or maybe even from up here, just grab that with another piece of angle just to support it so it sits rigid. And then I think I can actually screw on a GoPro mount and then level it out. It needs to be above my head, I think, for that 360 camera to give you the real view all the way around us. But I'm gonna build that mount, get a coat of wax on this. I'll show you the mount when it's done. It'll be something that we'll put on for this race. I think I may show you guys 1 or 2 races a year, promise. There's like a Key West race that races around the island of Key West, which is pretty cool. And the activities obviously afterwards. And then there's a race, Chattajack. It's on the Chattanooga River? I don't know. I think it's the Chattanooga River in Tennessee. It's 800 people in that race. It's massive. I did really well my first time in that race, and then because of stuff, I missed it the last 2, maybe 3 years. But I would love to go back next year. It's a really cool race. But let me get this mount done, and I'll show you that. I'll show you everything loaded on the truck, and the next shot's gonna be us launching the fishing kayaks in St. Pete. All right, guys, I have the bracket done. And I also wanted to mention that I'm wearing a shirt from the Georgia Suata Sanctuary. Sean Pruitt sent me a shirt. They're doing some good things there in Georgia. Look them up, Instagram, Facebook, give them some support. Nice people over there. I was wearing it before and I forgot to say something. We were supposed to wear it to Jurassic's property but he was rushing to get ready for winter and put off our visit until I think after the first of the year. But just a quick bracket I threw together, just some thin angle, and I adapted it to one of the GoPro mounts. So it'll film behind us with that fisheye lens, front and rear, and give us a 360-degree view. I'm a little concerned about it shaking, but everyone else I see uses a suction cup and they elevate it. We'll see. What's the worst that can happen? The film's crap and we just delete it and you guys get to see before and after the race and the excitement of all that. But I think I'm gonna take it apart here and here, travel with this in the truck, and then this can just fold down and stay there. I'll clean off all the metal, put a coat of wax on her, and load her up. And I saw on Brandon's drive system, they call this the idler pulley, and this cable right here, the coating's coming off, so I need to change that out on his. Yeah, that's another thing I forgot to mention. I've never seen anyone's paddle break in a race, but I have a mechanical drive system, and I snap the, if I can lay this down, I've snapped the fin masts in half. These are actually made from some aerospace company now to stop me from snapping them. I snapped the chains in half. I've failed the bearings in these sections here and the idler pulley. I've snapped the square drive arms in half plenty of times. I've snapped the pedals off. There's tons of stuff I can break. And sometimes that absolutely kills your race, especially when you're trying to make like a strong push to pass somebody or defend yourself towards the finish. And I'll pour the beans on and then something breaks. But that happens, that's life. But I'm gonna get that changed out on his. Like I said, I'll get my ski loaded up and I'll show you everything loaded. All right guys, it's, what do you say, 7:30-ish? That's when we made it here to St. Pete. We're launching off of Gandy, right next to Urban High is right there, and that's where we're racing tomorrow. So Brandon's in the Hobie Outback. I'm in the Pro Angler. We're gonna try out that GoPro 360 today, and we're gonna start working this mangrove shoreline. I could see that another kayaker launched before us, so I'm actually probably gonna stick my nose out into the bay a ways and see if he's way ahead of us. If he is, I am going to way leapfrog the shoreline ahead of him, and then never let him catch me the rest of the day, because I don't want to fish the shoreline that someone else just fished. Why would I want to do that? So I'm gonna get started. All right, so what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm cruising along the shoreline, about 50 feet close, but it's not so much the distance as the depth. I'm in about 1.5 to 2 foot of water, and those redfish will push up in as shallow as like 6 inches along the shoreline to eat crabs and shrimp and stuff like that. I don't know what the tide is doing, if it's rising or falling. It doesn't matter, because the sunlight is perfect for me to see all the way in, specifically at this angle as I'm going down the shoreline. So I am cruising silently and slowly and looking for the redfish feeding amongst the oysters on the bottom. I saw 2 big ones already, but they didn't want anything to do with my bait. I am throwing those Q8 super baits again this morning, and just kind of sight fishing as we work our way to the more natural shoreline for fishing. We need to get past, there's going to be a power plant along the shoreline. Once we get past that, that's my preferred area to fish. But we're just clipping along and looking for any traveling redfish on the way. Nice little redfish on the bait. That little shrimp one seems to be the one right now. Nice redfish if we can get him in. Oh God. I don't know if we're gonna keep him on. Yeah. He's barely hooked. And he's feisty. Half the size of some of the ones we've been seeing. Let's see. Right back in that water. Look at that beautiful redfish. And that was actually on a DOA cow shad paddle tail. The beautiful blues on the end of its tail. Nice and cold. Awesome. That's what it's all about right there. Alright, Brandon's got a nice one off. Now we're starting to get into the redfish a little better. What's up, everybody? We are sitting on the dock right before the race meeting. And you can see all the paddle boards, some outrigger canoes. Everyone's standing there. There's a lot of outrigger canoes and surf skis in the parking lot. There's a gentleman paddling by right now, warming up. But we're about to go over the race course. Vince is hiding somewhere. I think he's scared. But I don't know. Some other people said that he's been doing a lot of secret training, so we'll see what happens on the water. But I think that paddleboard right there is Kim Barnes, and she just placed second at Worlds, and she's a Jupiter local. Pretty awesome, my hometown. But we're gonna have the meeting, and then we're gonna get on the water. See you out there.
these weeds. Alright, we're coming up to the first buoy turn. And then we're sideways in it the rest of the for quite a few miles. I'm sure Vince is hot on our heels, but I can't tell. I have no vision here. Alright guys, we're coming into the halfway point of the race. If I had any advantage pedaling, it was that first half. So those two lead guys are going to open that gap on me. And again, I can't see who's behind me, but they're going to start reeling me in a little bit, just not a lot. Believe this? No? Vince is way back there. So just do the best we can and hold them off. Alright guys, we're coming into the finish. Currently in fourth.
Nice. All the way through. Come on, Jerry. Very impressive. Those are tippy and he's pedaling it.
Number 86, thank you. Whew. Oh wow. Vince wasn't even close. We're gonna have jokes for him later. Oh. It was really difficult in the sideways wave out there. Hard to balance in that and make any real speed. I'm exhausted. And ready for Vince to buy me a beer. I'll see you guys at the dock.
All right, we just finished lunch and I'm sitting down with Brandon and Vince and his family. That's Silken, Kiki, Nadia. There's Vince and Brandon. So I bested Vince, but Vince still bested Brandon, so I guess he's still technically in the winner's circle. But Brandon's really not. This is just training for him for what he's really focused on, which is the Spartan racing. But we're sitting at this restaurant. What is this called?
The Salt Shack.
The Salt Shack, sitting on beautiful Tampa Bay. You guys can see the view out here. It is really nice. And we had a good lunch. It was a good day. And
You guys were awesome. Thanks so much. Have a good one.
Vince and I have been trading insults back and forth.
You suck, Jerry.
Yeah, I know I do. But there'll be another race, another time, and I'm sure he'll eventually get me.
You will be going down, Jerry.
Which one of us is older?
It's tough to tell.
Because of all the gray on me, yeah. maybe when I'm old and decrepit, he'll beat me.
There will be a time. There will be a time.
All right, guys. Until next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. See you soon.